I know what you're thinking. Finals are coming faster than I can even imagine. For me, at Bond, finals are already here, which is crazy. This isn't normal. Normally, finals aren't until May. But if you think about it, May or June, depending on your school schedule, but if you think about it, you may only have a month or less than a month until your finals begin. I know, jump scare, right? Another semester gone. And last final season, I swear I cracked the code. Final season for me has always been a 2-week nightmare. I always felt like somehow there was this invisible timeline that I couldn't see, that I was just behind on. And it led to so much stress in my life. And I always felt like I didn't know how to study. I just knew how to get by. I could take a test and get an A, but I couldn't tell you that I actually learned anything. It felt like half of the test I was just guessing, if that makes any sense. And that really bothered me. This past semester, the fall semester, I had to figure it out. There was no way I could study the way I had been studying, or I would have gotten awful grades on my exams. And I know what you're thinking, Avery, I'm on a borderline grade, I'm scared, I'm nervous. This last test is the determinant between a B and an A for me. Trust me, I've been there last semester, and let me tell you how I study for final season. This past semester, I aced every single final exam I had. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. In fact, finals have always been my worst grades, which is weird because normally at college, all you have are your finals during the final week. So your entire life is just studying for them. But somehow I was so awful at studying for them. I would ace every single exam, and then I would get to the final and bam, B minus, maybe a C. Sometimes even, I think on a few of them I got a D, which was the first time I'd ever done that in my life. And while I still had an A in the class, it kind of hurt my ego a little bit that I received that grade. But today I'm giving you my ultimate know-how so that you can ace your final exams. First, if you get a study guide or a practice exam, let's say, for example, I'm an accounting major, so let's say a question on the practice exam is, what is Article 12 in Sarbanes-Oxley, or something along that nature. Don't make the mistake of just studying for that question. No, you need to know every article of Sarbanes-Oxley. You need to write it down. You need to have it memorized. So let's say you have, for example, if you're a different major, let's say you have a multiple choice and it's asking you all these questions. Not only answer that question, go back in your notes to what that question is referencing and ask yourself, do I know why the other answers are wrong? Do I know what words in the answers in the multiple choice would make this question right? You need to know every outline of the problem, not just the answer. Next, this is my complete study hack tool. Anki flashcards. These have changed my life. Download Anki, it's Anki, and download it on your MacBook or your computer or whatever you're going to download it on. Take every single thing from the notes and the PowerPoints and anything that you have done in class that is relevant for the test, put it on Anki. Now, beware, this will take you a few hours to create these flashcards, but when I tell you, you will ace your exams when you do this, and if you do this correctly. I mean, obviously you may not ace them, they may be hard exams, and all of this is just advice. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't come in the comments if you didn't ace an exam after what I tell you. But this, seriously, I ace every exam since I've done this. Every single one. There's no guessing. I am the first student out of the exam every single time. My friends will comment, they'll be like, Avery, within 10 minutes you were done with that exam. Unless, I mean, if it's all multiple choice. If there's problem solving on it, it would probably take me longer. But I had multiple friends comment this semester in my classes, how were you done with that exam so quick? I'm telling you, Anki flashcards. This changed my life. What you're going to do is you are going to take every single thing. If you have a note packet, if you have presentation slides, if you have lecture notes from the professor, whatever you have, you're going to take every single thing and you're going to format them as questions and you're going to put them on the flashcards. So for instance, I was in climate change this semester. One of my questions was, we learned about the ocean circulation patterns, and there's a thermohaline circulation pattern of the ocean. Or there are like La Nina and El Nino trade winds that influence ocean circulation patterns, right? So what I would do is I would say, explain El Nino trade winds and how they influence the ocean, where they come from, like, or just a simple question, explain El Nino trade winds. And then the answer would be on the back of the flashcard. And I would go through my deck of Anki flashcards and he would present that question. And obviously right then you know, oh, actually, I have no idea the answer to this question. So then you have to go back through your notes and reteach yourself, or come up with your best guess and write it down in a notebook. And then you're going to flip the flashcard over and you're going to see what you put versus what the correct answer is on the flashcard, and you can rank yourself on the Anki app. So for instance, if I had no idea what an El Nino trade wind is, I could just put fail, and Anki, the algorithm, would give me the flashcard more often because I wouldn't know the answer so that I could learn it. And I would say the perfect time frame to start using Anki is the moment you get note packets. For instance, next semester, the moment my professors have presentations, the moment I read the first chapter in the textbook, I'm starting one instantly, because it's easier to do spaced repetition over time. Your brain remembers it, you don't have to cram, less stress. And I know you're like, Avery, that's so annoying, but guess what? It's annoying to get the grades you want. It's annoying to be a student, but it's only annoying for a small amount of time. After college is done, after high school is done, you don't have to do it anymore. And like I said, set aside a few hours to make your flashcards. And I know, you're like, Avery, that's so annoying. I need to study right now. And if you're studying the night before, you might not want to use Anki. But I'm putting this episode out so that you can prepare for your finals. And if you have problem solving questions. For instance, in accounting, we have math questions sometimes. Balance the debits and credits. Do this. What's the account receivables? What's wrong? Put those questions, if you have a note packet and they have those questions, put blank questions in there. And then put the check figures on the back side of the note card when you flip it over, and force yourself to work it out by hand on paper. You are going to realize how unskilled you are at some of these questions so quickly when you use this method of studying. Next up, for papers, give yourself extra time. If you are writing papers and you have to sift through academic journals and do all these things, I've never done this before actually, before coming to Bond, but now my entire life is papers. If you're sifting through academic journals, minimum for your paper, I would say 15 hours. And I know you're like, Avery, that's a lot of time. I want to write a paper in 2 hours. Okay, give me a high quality paper with 20 academic journals that you read in 2 hours. I don't think it's going to happen. I genuinely think that you might fail that paper if you were to do it in 2 hours. If you can do it in 2 hours, that's amazing. But for me, 15 hours minimum. Every single paper I wrote here, where I had to sift through the academic journals and APA reference correctly and write in the traditionally accepted model that the higher education system of Australia uses, took me so much longer than any paper I've ever had to write in my life. I have never spent longer on papers than sifting through journals, finding studies that matched the argument that I wanted to present in the paper. It was crazy. So, just a reference of framework, 15 hours. And also, give yourself a lot of time. Work on it for multiple days. Let's go into my next study tip. My next study tip is to change studying areas frequently. I don't understand how people spend 6 hours at the library. And honestly, to me, I don't think you're spending 6 hours at the library and doing deep work. Let's be honest with each other. How much of the 6 hours was on your phone? How much of the 6 hours was you chatting with a friend? Yeah, I guarantee if we take those 6 hours and actually look at the time that you were working, you maybe only had an hour of work in there. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. Stop doing that. Prioritize deep work in shorter time periods than these long marathons of studying where you don't get anything done. 2 hours of deep work where you're not distracted, where you're listening to lo-fi beats, where you're taking 5-minute breaks using the Pomodoro technique will get you way farther in your studying than the cramming that us college students do, where we decide that we're going to go sit in the library for 48 hours and just live there and eat Cheez-Its. Okay, you're not doing any good for yourself. You're not learning anything. If anything, you're just creating unnecessary stress in your life. After 2 hours of deep work, get up, go on an hour walk, go listen to a podcast, go completely do something different. Don't even think about the studying you need to do. And then once you're finished, once your mind's relaxed, come back and do another 2 hours of deep work. I bet you have way more done than you ever thought possible. Also, don't just sit at the library. Don't sit at the same exact desk every time you study. Go to a coffee shop, drink a good coffee, drink a tea. Go study outside for a little bit. I find studying outside only super beneficial for light work. I can't do any deep thinking outside. If the sun starts to mess with my eyes, I get a headache. If it gets too cold, then I want to go inside. If it gets too hot, then I get sweaty. The outside is a little bit too variable for me. I'd rather read a book outside. I'd rather do light work for a research paper outside, maybe read a couple journals when I know the paper isn't due for another 4 weeks. Something like that, very low stress, is best for me if I'm going outside. But if studying outside works for you, hey, do it. Study in a study room in your dorm or create a study space in your living room. Do something like that, but don't study in the same space over and over. I don't know how people do this. It's never worked for me. Study tip I don't know what number we're on. Number 5? I don't even know. Give yourself permission to break studying rules. I know. I feel like this entire podcast is me going against anything you've ever learned about how you should study. Break the rules. Don't be scared to do it. Learn what works for you. Honestly, you could be completely different from me and say, Avery, the only way I'm getting anything done is by living at the library for 48 hours. Guess what? You don't have to listen to my rules. If it doesn't work for you, you don't have to implement it into your life. Learn about yourself. You are a phenomenal person to learn about, and you know what's best for yourself. If you don't like something you're doing, don't do it. If you think, oh, this just doesn't work for me, my brain's so tired, I hate doing this, why are you doing it? Because everybody else is doing it? That's stupid. You don't have to. I'm giving you the permission. Give it to yourself. Now, study tip number 6. These are the stupid ones that everybody talks about, but for me it works. I eat healthy all year round. I'm really healthy. I don't like anything crazy in my body. I don't eat any dairy. I don't eat any gluten. I mean, half the time I eat vegan. I don't even like talking about it myself. But if you eat like trash all year round, try to clean it up a little bit during finals week. Your brain is directly connected to your gut. Did I learn that from TikTok and from Dr. Mike? I'm pretty sure Dr. Mike said that. Someone influential said it. It could not have been Dr. Mike. I'm sorry, I've been consuming his content a lot. But the better you eat, the better your brain can function. How do you feel after you eat just Cheez-Its for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and Cheetos, and Sun Chips? I mean, I've seen this at college. I've seen a lot of stuff. And I think these are the main components and food groups in a college student's diet. How do you feel about yourself? Answer honestly. You don't feel good. You feel like trash. Don't do that. Don't overconsume caffeine either. You don't need that energy drink at midnight. You don't need 2 or 3 of them. That could land you in the hospital with a heart murmur or something of that nature that's very serious that you do not want. Maybe eat a salad for lunch, something light that keeps your brain moving. Maybe just eat a little bit better. Full meals. Okay? It'll help you. Study tip number 7. This one's also annoying, and I know, you're like, Avery, stop telling me the same stuff everybody else says, but it's valid. Sleep is very good. Don't neglect your sleep during finals week. Actually, your brain's gonna work a lot better if you get sleep. I used to think this was BS, and I would stay up all night, okay? And I would study. And this past final season, when I aced all my finals, I got 8 hours of sleep every night. I said, okay, it's non-negotiable. I'm going to the gym. I'm getting my sleep. I'm taking time for my meals. I do not care. I don't care. I'm not skipping meals. I'm not sleeping. I'm not working out just to study for these. Guess what? I got the highest grades on my finals tests that I've ever gotten in my entire university career. I didn't skip a meal to study. I didn't not sleep and stress myself out. Don't do that. Number 8's annoying too. I'm just telling you now. Don't procrastinate. Don't do it all the night before. You want to know why? You're going to forget half of what you learned. It's going to be stressful studying. It's not going to be peaceful studying. Peaceful studying is something I came across this past semester at school, where I realized if you start early and you just slowly chunk away at what you want to study at, life is so easy. Who knew you could have balance during finals week? Who knew that you could go to lunch with friends because actually you don't need to study that much because every time you go through your Anki flashcards, you remember it. Who knew that you didn't have to study until the last minute on an exam and walk in and sit down and have your whole body shaking because you worked yourself up so much? You don't need that. You can chunk away at it. It's okay. Okay. My next piece of advice: Lo-fi study beats. Oh, I started listening to those Lo-fi hip-hop study with me things on YouTube. The way I just hone in on what I'm trying to think about, it's incredible. I love it. It changed my life and it changed my studying, and I feel like I can study for longer without getting tired, and I think that the music is the perfect pace and tempo that it just puts me into a flow state, and I'm able to just knock things out when I do it, when I listen to it. So that's just a small tip. Try it out. You may love it. You may hate it. Honestly, a lot of people I know love it though. And my final tip for studying for finals: talk to your professors. If you're in high school, honestly, you probably just need the study guide. But if you haven't done well on your exams, your professors are there to help you. Go into them during the semester and say, look, I didn't do well in this exam. Can you help me? Or, I'm really nervous about our final. Here's what I'm studying. Here's what I've written down. Are there any key concepts that you think I'm missing? Now, if your professor is just a total buzzkill, they might not give you any information. But normally, if you were to go into a professor and say, hey, look, this is what I have written down. Is this all I need to study? Do you think there's anything I can supplement my studies with? If you ask them high quality questions with intention, they will help you 100%. Honestly, in high school, your teachers terrify you about college. They say, oh, in college this would never fly. Oh, in college this. Oh, in college that. No, college is 10 times better than high school. And the professors are way nicer. They genuinely want to help you. They want you to understand their subject. They're very excited to see you launch your career. They will give you support 9 times out of 10. Unless you have just a really bad professor. Then I'm really sorry. And try to ask people who've taken the class before about the final exam. Utilize your network. And for my last study tip, try your best if your friends are bad influences when you are studying, or they're constantly trying to get you to do things you know you shouldn't be doing. Don't listen to them. Try your best to take a break from them during finals week. You're the one creating your college experience. You're the one who has to live with a bad grade. If an employer asks you about a bad grade, you're the one who has to come up with an answer. You see, the thing is, in big colleges, a lot of people don't care. And I've seen this a lot. A lot of people, they don't care. And if they do care, it's very last minute. And sometimes they waste their college experience. obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you're trying your best to do well on your final exams. Just be honest with them. Say, hey, I need to prioritize my exams. Or, hey, I'm really struggling in my classes. I need to prioritize my exams. If they're making fun of you for that, number one, they're probably not your friends. And number two, that is an indicator that you have different goals than them and you need to prioritize yourself. Because something I've learned is people waste their college experience. Not always, but a lot of people come to college and they don't take it very seriously. And then they wake up and they realize, oh, I didn't take this seriously. I didn't study like I should have. I didn't join clubs like I should have. I wasn't as involved as I should have been. I didn't take the risks that I wanted to in college. And maybe they end up jobless after graduation, or they end up with jobs that they don't want. Just know, studying is going to pay off. Take care of your studies, because your studies will take care of you. If you have a good GPA, even great GPA, if you were involved in college, if you were doing all these things, an employer will want you because you are the type of student they want to employ. Remember that while you're studying. Remember that you are in college because you have a career that you want. And it could be a phenomenal career. You are in college for a reason. There's a career that you want. There's a dream you're working on. Don't let your friends distract you or convince you not to study. It's your life you're creating, and at the end of the day, the only person who has to lay down in bed, the only person who has to go through their day every day and decide if they're happy with it or not is yourself. Don't let your friends distract you. If you need to study because it's your dream to be a doctor, it's your dream to be a lawyer, it's your dream to be whatever, prioritize yourself during this time. It will pay off, I promise you. I think a lot of time is spent in college thinking, what am I studying for? What am I doing? This is not the greatest feeling in the world, to sit here in this library all day and hammer things out and do work and not hang out with my family, but trust me, it's going to pay off. Don't let people who are creating a different life than you try to convince you that it won't, because it's not true. Study tip number 9, a timer. A timer has changed my life. Set a timer. I usually do 45 minutes, but you can do whatever time you want. Something about the timer makes me 10 times more productive. I know that time is counting down. No aimless studying, it's time to get to work. This helps with deep work as well, that I was talking about in the beginning, where I said I can do, a couple hours of deep work and then I just have to take a break for an hour or two and get my mind completely off of studying. If you have things to hammer out, start a timer. It will change your life. Some people have told me that this doesn't work for them, but a timer has been revolutionary for me in studying, and it has made me way more productive. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. I hope you can take some of these study tips and apply them to your life. Best of luck during finals. Make sure to treat yourself. You can reward yourself every once in a while. If you studied really hard and you ate healthy all day, maybe you need a little froyo. Maybe you need a cookie. Maybe you need to, I don't know, what do people reward themselves with for studying? I have no clue. Maybe you need to go shopping. Oops, I said it. Maybe you need to go buy something if you do well in your finals. Give yourself a reward that you know will motivate you, and give yourself a timeline so you can get it done. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope that you found these study tips super helpful and relevant. These things have changed my life, and I wanted to share them with you. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.